Today we're going to be doing smoked chicken. Before we season it or do anything, we want to inject the chicken. If you don't have a rotisserie and you want to smoke this on the smoker, then I would suggest taking a pair of scissors and cutting out just the spine. Take a pair of scissors and just cut on both sides of the spine, all the way down on both sides of the little flapper. Once that's cut out, you can split this open and lay it flat and put it in your smoker. On the second shelf, have a pan underneath to protect it from heat and catch the drippings, and then smoke it that way. I like to do it on the rotisserie, and I don't slow smoke it at a very low temperature. I smoke it around 350 degrees. Still gonna get that nice smoke ring. You take some of your injection. Chicken broth says to use water. Chicken broth is much better. Pro tip, when trying to put this in there, it's usually pretty difficult. Take some butter and just put a little bit of butter on there. And now it goes right on in. Got a fresh set of gloves. We have our injection. And we want to make sure we get the breast nice and injected. Try not to get it all over the place and messy like I just did. Put your thumb on there so it doesn't squirt out at you. Do a little bit more in the breasts. Okay, I've transferred my seasoning into a unused Lowry's seasoning just to make it easier. And here's another pro tip. Because when you're handling raw chicken, raw pork, you don't want your dirty hand to be all over your bottle. We're gonna pat the chicken dry so the seasoning will stick. Now you want to get seasoning under the skin, and you want to try not to rip this skin. Start with your finger and just keep pushing and running. Eventually you will loosen all of that skin up to be able to get up underneath there with seasonings. Because you want your meat seasoned, you don't want necessarily the skin seasoned. You want the skin seasoned too, but you really want the meat seasoned. Leave the skin on there because it will protect the meat from drying out. Healthy amount of seasoning down in there. And then you can use your hand to cover all that meat. And the same thing for the thighs and the legs. You can just stick your finger just on the other side of that nub and try not to rip it like I just did, because it's easy to rip. And if you do, it's okay. The same thing on the other side. Try to find a spot to get your finger in there. And just keep working your finger around in there. Now we just season the outside very liberally. Inside. Now we're done seasoning it. What we're going to do now is we're going to cover this and put it in the fridge overnight, because that seasoning is going to penetrate the meat, tenderize it. You want to definitely season it a day ahead of time if you have the time. Since we can't grill the chicken until tomorrow, or smoke it, or whatever you want to call it, we might as well make some homemade barbecue sauce. All ketchup is tomato puree, water, vinegar, white sugar, maybe some seasonings, but I don't have any tomato puree on hand, and just use ketchup. And you can use ketchup as well, it's fine. About 1 bottle. Got our pan on low, got our cat soup. I don't know, half a cup maybe. And make your sauce however the way that you want to make it. If you like it sweet, add more brown sugar. So also taste as you go. So we're going to add some garlic cloves. You can also use garlic powder. So 3 to 4 garlic cloves if you're doing fresh garlic. That should be good. Taste. Wash your spoon off because you don't want your saliva in there. Apple cider vinegar. About a half a cup. So we're going to taste again. Could use a little bit more. I'm going to wash my spoon off. Next, we're going to add some wash your sister sauce or Worcestershire sauce. And probably about the same, about another half a cup. Taste it. It's pretty good. To be a little bit different this time, I have this smoked maple Knob Creek. I want to add just a tiny bit. Taste it. That's good. Now what I want to do is, since I seasoned the chicken with this seasoning, I want to use the exact same seasoning in this barbecue sauce. Taste. Like I said, we like ours spicy, so Add just a teeny tiny bit of cayenne. We're gonna add paprika, some onion powder, Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything. Taste. It needs a little bit more brown sugar. Taste. It's getting there. Finally, we're gonna add some honey. Pour, I don't know, half a cup in there. And then any type of apple cider beer I like to add. Taste. Perfect. Turn this up to get it bubbling and simmer it and let it cook, and we'll be back when it simmers down. We've turned the heat up to about 3/4 of the way. Stir it every once in a while. It was way up here, so it's cooked down some. There's a plethora of things that you can add to this, and it'll just be fantastic. So also, it will thicken up when it cools down, so looks like it's at the consistency that I like. Take that off the heat, and then I'll ball it up for tomorrow's use. So we've got our barbecue sauce the next day, as you can see, is nice and thickened up and tastes delicious. Whole chicken, and we're going to use a meter probe. Most people ask, how long do you cook this for? That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. It's not about time. It's 100% about temperature. You can also cook this in the oven, roast it in the oven, and the skin will come out nice, really crispy. 425 for maybe 40 minutes. But again, don't do it by time. Do it by temperature. Get you any old probe and stick it in the oven. And when you see that it hits 160, you're good. Pull it off, let it rest. That's another thing that a lot of people will neglect and forget about. Once your meat is done cooking, you also need to let it rest. Now, the last thing is probe placement. You're going to want it close to a bone, because that's also where the meat is typically cooked last. I like to place mine in the breast at a slight angle, close to this breastplate. I only have two hands, so I couldn't record while putting it on the smoker, but every grill has a hot side or hot spots. My grill runs hotter on this side, so I leave the legs and thighs pointing towards that, because those can cook to around 190 degrees and still be really juicy, while trying to protect the breast over onto the least hot side. We've got it on the rotisserie, and grill is set to 350 degrees, and we'll check back once my meter alarm tells me it's done. Time to pull her off. This is gonna slap like a tick on a fat dog. And we want to make sure that you rest the whole turkey for at least 10 to 15 minutes after you take it out of the oven or off the grill. Resting the meat relaxes the cooked muscle fibers. When meat is cooked, muscle fibers contract and squeeze moisture towards the center, creating a high pressure. So resting the meat reverses that contraction, allowing the fibers to relax and reabsorb those juices caused by cooking. This will help redistribute the juices back throughout the meat. So now when you cut the meat, it will prevent those flavors from spilling out on the cutting board. This allows for a much juicier, tender meat instead of a piece of jerky that tastes like you gave up in life back in 1997. So let me get this off of here, and then we'll come back and we'll cut it open and take a look. I almost forgot to mention, when dealing with hot meats, I highly recommend getting some cotton insulation to go underneath your food safe gloves, so when handling hot meats, you're not burning your fingertips. Breaking down the turkey, or the turkey. Breaking down the chicken. You want to slice in between the leg and the thigh. Just a little bit, just open it up. Now we've got the breast exposed. Right in the center is that breastplate. And you can just kind of cut across that. And you can see there, that whole breast is there. And you can typically just cut it out. And there's one whole breast. Here's a second breast. Now it's not chewy, it's not crunchy, but it's not chewy. So this is still really good and tasty. And we got the thigh, then you can just kind of pull it off. And here's a whole chicken quarter. There's the other chicken quarter. For those that don't know, the best pieces of every chicken, and turkey for that matter, are these two chunks of meat right here called pearl. That is the best piece of meat. Got our wings, and then underneath the back plates is usually some good meat. And that's pretty much it. Now, how did we do? Let's take a look at the breast. That looks pretty juicy to me. Nice and moist. Let's try another piece. And this time, with that barbecue sauce that we made earlier. This is some really good, so moist, tender. That barbecue sauce we made, look how thick that sauce is. It's some good stuff. Oh my. Wow. Now you try it.